There is a scientific word for that. It is eukaryotic. Animals are organisms that having or consisting of many cells, which separates them from bacteria and protists. There is a word for that too. It's called multicellular. Animals are organisms that cannot produce their own food. So they have to get their food and energy by taking in other organic beings, plants and other animals. And guess what? There is a word for that too. It's a more complicated one, heterotrophic. And because they take in food, they need a special organ to digest this food. So they have an internal digestion chamber that we call a stomach. You know, some animals have one stomach, like us. Others have three, a stomach with 3 chambers, like camels. Others have 4, like the ruminants. You know, cows, goats, sheep. And last but not the least, in most animals, the embryos pass through a blastula stage, that is during the embryonic development, which is a characteristic that is exclusive to animals. Blastula, it's an early embryonic stage, is when the cells, after many divisions, form like a sphere, and all the cells are around or form the sphere, and inside we have liquid. It's filled with liquid, and from that structure folds in itself and start forming the different organs. And this embryonic stage is important because if we examine like embryonic comparative embryogenesis, we can see that fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, humans, we have at a certain point the same, very similar. You look at the shape and the presence of the structures, the organs, we have the same embryonic development. Okay, now this is back to school, girls. 5th grade science, biology. So animals can be classified in 2 main groups: vertebrates and invertebrates. Thank you very much. Vertebrates are animals that have a skeleton, an internal skeleton, a backbone, and they are less than 10% of all animals on Earth. Oh my God. Now, invertebrates, they are a bunch of animal groups, a broad collection. They have no backbone. Some of them have an exoskeleton, which means that it's an external type of skeleton that supports their body, protects, like insects, crustaceans. They have that. Think of an ant as exoskeleton. It's hard outside. Think of a lobster, the exoskeleton. It's hard to protect and support the body. Invertebrates are over 90% of all animals on Earth. And you have there some individuals representing, mollusks, arthropods, worms, cnidarians. So humans are among the vertebrate mammals. So we are with I think that is a beast like those wild beasts in Africa.
Ox?
Or ox or something. It's a ruminant. So we are among the vertebrate mammals. We have a backbone. We are warm-blooded animals that help us. That means that we can regulate our body and help us to live in any climate in almost every corner of the planet. We have hair on our bodies, well, some more than others. And we have mammary glands to produce milk to feed our babies, which gives us time to spend more time with the young and teach the young. The United States Census Bureau estimates that the human world population exceeded 7 billion in 2012. And yet, our species is just a portion of the 10% of the vertebrate animals living on Earth. So there are many living beings having their experience, having their evolutionary journey on our planet alone. So humans have an animal body that is very complex, sophisticated, functional, and beautiful. In our physical nature, we are like the animals and less gifted than many of them. Let's take, for instance, the frequency hearing range. The human's auditory field or range is between 20 and 20,000 hertz. So that's what we can hear. In our auditory range is much less than that of the dog and the cat. They can hear basically what we can in more high frequencies. Let me see if I can right here. They can hear what we hear, and they can hear more, double, in terms of ultrasounds. And we are not capable, the humans are not capable to hear lower frequencies than 20 hertz or higher frequencies than 20,000 hertz. So high and low frequencies, we are not capable of hearing like the elephants are or the dolphins are. So they are more endowed than we are. Nonetheless, our bodies are the most suitable ones, the suitable vehicle of manifestation of our spirits, in this stage of our evolutionary journey, just as the body of the animals, of all other living beings, is for them. In the book Genesis of the Soul, so not yet translated into English, Kaibat Shuto said, the men bring in their physical bodies indelible traces of animality, and their soul reflects the instincts of the inferior beings of nature. So let's talk about our bodies. We belong to the order of primates. Primates are distinguished for having hands, hand-like feet, and forward-facing eyes. The genetic evidence puts us in this family tree. And it's important to understand about DNA, the amount of difference in DNA in a test is the difference between one species and the other. And it tells us how closely or distantly these species or we are connected with one another. And we share about 98% of genetic code with our closest relatives, that is the chimpanzees and the bonobos. And these strong similarities, between humans and the African great apes led Charles Darwin in 1871 to predict that Africa was the likely place where the human lineage branched out from other animals. And today, the DNA evidence confirms this. And there is a book and a DVD called The Journey of Man. It's The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey from Spencer Wells. I recommend this DVD. It is one of my list of top 10 favorites, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So if you can even find on YouTube. You can follow the. They have many, but they don't. I think they have the entire DVD there, the documentary there. So The Journey of Man, an Odyssey, a Genetic Odyssey by Spencer Wells. How our species came to be. Let me see if I can mark here. Okay. How did we evolve? The last common ancestor of humans and chimpanzees lived between 8 and 7 or 6 million years ago. So the last common ancestor, here before they branched off, we branched off, right here. It is we don't have a fossil remains. So we call this usually the missing link. But gaps in the fossil record doesn't, they are very common and they doesn't disprove evolution. So about 6 million years ago, in Africa, the chimpanzee lineage and ours is split. So what happens to us after that split? The hominids, we are here, the hominids lineage did not march in a straight line, like from here to this, to this, to this, and then Homo sapiens. You can say that from the first one, there are many other hominids that were evolving, developing at the same time. So examining, and by the way, they are, they are, of course, all extinct now. Only we survived of this. Only we are here, survived. So examining the fossils, the artifacts, and even the DNA evidence of these relatives helped us to understand this complex hominid tree and how modern humans came to be. I want to point out here in the graphic, number 7. It's right here. And if you go up, you will see that 100,000 years ago, human brains, you can see here, well, they are not, they all look the same, but human brains reached more or less the current range size. Early Homo sapiens lived in Africa, and at the same time we have Homo neanderthalensis and Homo erectus. And then later on the here on this point on the graphic is kind of 25,000 years ago. Homo neanderthalensis has gone extinct, leaving only modern humans, Homo sapiens. And we spread throughout the world. So Homo sapiens is the only surviving species.
Can I answer your question, Cinthia, or wait till the end?
Go ahead.
So would you say, as the human progressed more, the human species, the progression and the modification, meaning the change of the DNA, which has become of a higher number, also had to coincide with the transcendence of the earth, moving from one dimension into another. So as the earth moved more from a second to a third dimension, as well the DNA of the human species to support it changes.
I would not say that. I would say this is still in the same dimension as the physical dimension. You know, what is happening here and I will explain more about the intelligent principle in his journey to become individualized and become a spirit. But we are so far yet away from the whole potential of the human race. We are still, as Kai Bar Shuto said, we still bring those indelible traces. We still have a lot from the animals in the physical, and we are far from developing our spiritual. We already started the intellect and the moral aspects, but we are still far from being, to say like in a different dimension or in a different realm of existence. I don't know if I answered your question. I don't know if I understand it well, but as I go on, I will talk about that, and then you ask again, maybe. Okay. So let me see. I wanted to. Okay. The question here is: will human species, the Homo sapiens, continue to evolve in the next million of years? Spiritist teaches us that evolution is part of the law of progress. So it's a natural divine law. So I can infer from what we have seen so far, I can say that our species will evolve, will continue to evolve. How our bodies will look, this I don't know. But chances are that our bodies will be better in all aspects, or at least will serve our spirit as our spirit also progresses intellectually and morally, will serve better this spirit. And we can say that there is a trend happening here. So this trend with our journey so far can point out that we will continue evolving, and there is progress from the first hominids till what we are now.